What is this wicked supremacist shit? What's that about?
Anyway, so I'm not sure what the actual. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But what I want to
listen, I just picture you sitting in your room, like piecing all together, and like convincing yourself, like,
what I want,
I know I'm right.
What I want, what I want to do is I want what I want to do. What I want, what I want,
fingers based on
what I
like
want
you
to
learn,
do.
like you watch
what I would like, what I would like to, what I would like to do, what I would like to do, what I would like to do. Keep my name out of your mouth, right? Keep my name out of your mouth. No. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't. Okay, I see it because you are literally the biggest weasel of all time. Beyond the joke. Beyond the joke. Beyond the joke. Beyond. Hold on. I'm gonna finish this statement. I'm gonna finish this. You are trying your best to once again. You're once again trying. You're trying your best once again.
I see why you've been so busy
yes
with
or no. Yes or no. Yes or no. There it is again. So beyond that, beyond the joke.
I guess he forgot what stream this was.
Beyond the joke.
Listen, if we're gonna play this game, I can also.
Chud, can you please mute him? Behind Prime's intention. I don't have access to that information. Reword it. Find better words because you keep saying the same thing over and over again. The Wicked Supreme, aka Wicked Supremacist.
I asked Prime, like I said. Here's what
you're trying so hard. And I understand that Katarina's a liar. I get it. She's a power hungry liar. I'm having a hard time understanding your question. I don't understand what you're getting at.
People in chat complain about my moderating.
I wonder if any of you know it. Have any of you heard of a behind-the-scenes person named Queen Alexa? Yeah. You fucking disingenuous. You motherfucking disingenuous bastard. And it does. You see, behind the fucking scenes. Shut up. I'm talking.
Did he write the twit longer? Yes or no?
So listen, I just don't want to engage with you on this anymore because you come into these situations like lacking so much information and you start pointing fingers.
Did he write the twit longer? Yes or no?
Anyway, what I was saying was that this person, Queen Alexa, has been grooming an underage child.
All you did, so
you're such a clown.
So I know that you try to weasel around everything. Wicked Supreme, aka Wicked Supremacist. What happened?
I'm just going to ask you again as soon as you're done waffling. I'm asking you if you saw this conversation because this is information that was.
I don't care.
Fanatiq come on and make his accusation without interference, and I'm happy to come on afterwards if needed. I mean, he's calling you. What is this wicked supremacist shit? What's that about? Anyway, look. Want to go on simultaneously? Okay, look. Okay, there we go. No pressure, but we managed to make it happen. Okay, both of you just hop in the green. Easy thing to do. Hop in the green room. And I'll pull you both in, and I'll do my best to make sure there's not too much blood, okay? Right, so you're both in. I'm not sure how you want to play in terms of who speaks first. I'm just going to try and step in if I feel things get out of hand. I want to let you just have a backwards and forwards as much as possible. I guess probably the most straightforward thing. Fanatiq, did you have maybe a claim you wanted to make, or what your thoughts are on this, and we'll go from there?
Sure, I'll just give my general position. I think my biggest problem with this entire situation is that it seemed like everybody was willing to swallow a whole this palliative version of whatever Dylan Burns' apology was. And I've always had the stance that your apology should be as loud as your accusation or as the wrong you did. And in this situation, I feel like Dylan Burns did everything he could to minimize his apology, even though he was doing everything he could to amplify the accusations. He literally intended for Cayes to lose his career over this situation. And so when what finally got exposed and we realized that it wasn't just that Burns was passively accepting information wrongly, Burns was concocting the information. He wrote the twit longer himself. He was the one that came up with the framing for the accusation. He amplified it entirely himself. And then after doing so, then it's really, really hush, quiet about, I'm sorry, I was wrong, and then just disappears about it, just, whatever. And it was, to me, there were specific terms that were supposed to be carried out by Dylan Burns that they agreed to, and then afterwards, Wicked Supreme and Dylan Burns, I don't know if it was conspiracy or what the freaking cause was. Just know that Dylan Burns
make it interesting. Say it was conspiracy. That makes it more fun.
I'm sorry, I choose to be more accurate than that. I don't know, so I'm not going to say something that I'm not sure about. Anyway, so I'm not sure what the actual. I'm not sure what the actual cause is. But what I do know is that Wicked Supreme, aka Wicked Supremacist, was supposed to be the go-between between Prime and Dylan. He was supposed to be the one making sure that the apology thing was carried out, and in some sort of way, supposedly there was a miscommunication that allowed Dylan Burns to skirt half of the obligations that he committed to regarding like his apology for Prime, and then he began to do so a month later. And I think that's where the problem is.
Hmm. So can you list those demands and substantiate that he skirted quote unquote half the demands?
Well, for one, the three demands that I'm pretty sure were the most apparent were: one, he was supposed to be making an apology, he was supposed to pin an apology to his Twitter. He was supposed to pin an apology to his Discord, and he was supposed to, just admit what he did, and he didn't. The reason why I say he didn't was because instead of him saying, "I came up with these accusations, I was the that told a bunch of the lies," he literally just blamed it on Katarana and on Samantha Banana. Samantha Banana told me this. I should have did it. I didn't vet this. That was his entire apology. I didn't vet the information. You literally had access to every single DM that was released Prime, and despite having access to every single DM, between Prime and Katarana, having access to all of those, you read all of those, you came up with the twit longer, you had all of that information. It wasn't a lack of vetting, it was pure malice. You intentionally tried to come up with a story to tank a person's career, and now you're trying to blame it all on her. That was one. Then the second thing was, it was supposed to be pinned to his Twitter. He pinned it for a month. And then later on said, "Oh, it's just Supreme miscommunicated to me. I didn't know that I was supposed to do it for a month." Even I was told that it didn't matter anymore, that he changed his mind, even though Prime never did change his mind. So I don't know where the miscommunication happens there. Either he's lying or miscommunicated, or I don't know what the freak happened. But I just know this was
correct. You have no
happen.
idea what happened. Yes, that is correct.
Sure, that's a very reductive way of saying there are. I'm sorry, I don't know. Let me make sure that this is phrased correctly, since I know that you try to weasel around everything. There are only two realistic possibilities for this situation. One of which is you miscommunicated and just didn't tell him, and some sort of way told him that he was no longer responsible, or he lied, or he reneged. I'm sorry. So there's three possibilities, but I don't know which of those three it is, but I know it's one of those things. So did Dylan renege? Did you miscommunicate and tell him that he wasn't supposed to? Or is he lying about that?
I'm sorry, is who lying about what?
Dylan Burns lying about you miscommunicating to him that he no longer needed to pin the Discord.
So there was a list of demands. It seems like you're not aware of this, but there was like an entire apology stream that was part of the demands that we worked out.
Nope, I saw that. That's why I wasn't. I was there for the stream. I saw it.
That's funny because like a minute ago, you just claimed that Dylan never apologized and put everything on Cat.
Literally, I said what he didn't do is take ownership. He put everything on Cat.
It was part of his apology.
What I also said was his apology wasn't a real apology, because instead of him admitting to specifically that he did what he was supposed to be doing, and that he was the one that concocted the story, that he did a bunch of those things, what he did instead was shift all of the blame towards Cat. That's what I'm saying.
What are you talking? As part of that apology, he said that he should have confronted Prime and talked to him one-on-one, and instead he, came up with a bunch of loose evidence and gathered an audience, did a live stream, and did an accusation. How's that not taking ownership?
Okay, so reasoning again. Did he take ownership Did he take ownership specifically for concocting the story himself?
Wait, why do you think he concocted the story himself? What elements of the story do you think he manifested and fabricated?
Because
himself?
he wrote one. He was the one that told her, "Hey, no." When Katarana was originally just claiming, I just felt uncomfortable. He was the one that elevated and escalated the terms. No, this is specifically you were. This was specifically sexual harassment. He was the one that wrote the twit longer, right?
Can you substantiate that?
That came out of Katarana's mouth in an interview with you.
Can we see it?
I can. I don't have it on right now, but it came out of her mouth for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Dylan's account.
There's a screenshot. I'm sorry. There's a screenshot specifically in which Katarana was asking someone, "Hey, can you provide what was it? Can you provide me like evidence of you talking to Prime or whatever yada yada?" Dylan needs it for the twit longer. Do you remember that screenshot?
Mm-hmm. No, I don't. But I'd be happy to see it.
Okay, it did happen. So let me just, before I have to go and look for it. If that did happen, would that be evidence enough for you to say that Dylan Burns was the author of the twit longer?
Well, I have a lot more context and I have a lot more information for this. So no, that wouldn't be enough because I know that, for example, basically there was a phone conversation between between Caterana and Prime. Dylan had overheard something, and he like I asked him, I grilled him about this as part of the conversation I had with him immediately after that stream. Were you aware that I did this? That I pulled him on and like had a
Doesn't matter. Go ahead and get to the
So
information.
I'm
So far,
curious.
you're just moving the goalposts. What's happening?
I'm just going to ask you again as soon as you're done waffling.
What?
Okay, you're done? Okay, so are you aware that after Dylan's like accusation stream,
You're not answering my question. The thing that I'm saying
Listen, I'm
was
gonna ask you
specific.
again.
The claim, I don't care if you're going to again. The thing that I claimed, you're not going to just automatically shift it onto me. The thing that I claimed specifically was that Dylan wrote the twit longer. That I'm saying. Did he write the twit longer? Yes or no?
So the twit longer was, again, I'm asking you if you saw this conversation because this is information that was in
I don't
that
care.
conversation.
Did he write the twit longer? Yes or no?
So listen, I just don't want to engage with you on this anymore because you come into these situations like lacking so much information and start pointing fingers.
Did he write the twit longer? Yes or
don't
no?
know anything. Listen,
Did he write longer? Did he write the twit longer? Yes or no?
No, he did not write the twit longer. It was overseen by a couple people, and like some people oversaw it and maybe gave Caterana suggestions or something like that. But she wrote the thing herself. Well, I think there was it was like a somewhat collaborative effort. I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, what does it matter? At one point she said she did, and at another point she said she didn't. She's not a credible witness.
Okay, so all I have is the evidence specifically where this wasn't after the situation blew up, but we have the evidence specifically in which there's a screenshot while the twit longer was being written in which she specifically said, "Hey, I need this screenshot because Dylan needs it for the twit longer." She specifically said that. Yeah. Now, after the accusations happen.
Do you want to answer or do you want to talk over me? Which one do you want?
So I'm not talking over you. I'm just going to finish so I can
which one do you want? You're making
I'll tell you what I want. I'll tell you what I want. Okay, good. I love that you want to address them, and like I hope that you'll actually honestly
it sounds like you just want to preach. You're missing so much information.
I hope that you want to do so, but what I want to do...
Listen, I just picture you sitting in your room, like, piecing all shit together and like, convincing yourself, like, I have the answers. I know I'm right, but you don't even like have half the information.
What I want to do is you
start pointing fingers based on like you fucking learn like you watch
what I would like to do is I'd like to fully finish my sentences to prevent you from trying to weasel around it like you've been doing this entire time. So if I finish my statement, then maybe you can actually respond.
Right, okay, here's what's going to happen. We're starting to talk over each other. People in chat complain about my moderating. Okay, listen, I know what I'm doing, okay? So, Fanatiq, you say your piece, and then Supreme respond to it. We'll go from there, okay?
Thank you. So the point that I'm saying is, what I have is the specific evidence of Caterana making this claim that, saying that Dylan needed something specifically for the twit longer. And the thing that was so interesting about that came, that was a private. And I understand that Caterina is a liar. I get it. She's a power hungry liar, and she was like just trying to light up in the Twitch ranks, right? So like that's fine. But what actually happened was, the statements that she made after like the situation had gone public and they were trying their best to like elevate it as much as possible in order to castrate Prime, like those statements, of course, we know are not credible because she's a freaking liar. But there's a difference between those statements and the statement she was making to Samantha Banana before they actually outed the story. And those things, I believe, were genuine and honest because she was in the process of executing the plan at that point.
So what are all the possible extents to which like only could be implicated for quote unquote writing the twit longer based on this comment?
What do you
Okay, if the comment is Dylan needs this for the twit longer, what are the potential implications?
I don't understand. What are you saying?
You're motherfucking Detective Magoo. So I'm asking you, you're the one who wants to put this case together. I'm asking you, what are the potential implications of this piece of evidence?
The implications are important as they are. Like I said them. Like that the evidence indicates Dylan Burns wrote the twit longer.
Wait, what are the potential implications? What is the minimum and maximum degree that you think Dylan Burns is implicated in quote unquote writing the twit longer?
I don't know. I'm having a hard time
I
understanding.
know
your
you
question.
don't know. I'm asking you.
I said I'm
asking you
having
to
a hard
just
time
feel this
understanding.
out.
What I said was not. I don't. I said I'm having a hard time understanding your question. I don't understand what you're getting at. Can you say it in a way? I don't understand what you're saying.
Okay. So you have a piece of evidence. What are the minimum implications of that evidence? What is the minimum? What is like the minimum degree to which Dylan could have been involved in like needing something for a twit longer? And what is the maximum degree to which he would be needed to like that he would need something to be involved in a twit longer? I'll tell you what. Why don't you take some time to think about this? Keep my name out
I
of your
don't know
mouth.
what the freak you're asking. I don't know what your question is
accusing me
making.
of
I said
chat.
specifically, he wrote the twit longer. What do you mean? What minimum implications? What are you
So
talking
you think
about? Like,
you think he
what
just
does
like
that mean?
wrote every word of the like the maximum implications would be that without her consent or without her involvement or whatever, like he just wrote every word of the twit longer or something like that.
No. That's an entirely different factor, right? Like
Well, those are the maximum implications.
hold on. I'm sorry. No, there's no way to even extricate that from the sentence that Dylan needs for the twit longer. All I'm saying is that indicates in some sense that Dylan has some sort of authorship over the twit longer obviously considering the fact that she referred to he needs it for the twit longer. If it was something that she was the author and she was the one that was like primarily responsible for, she'd say, I need it for the twit longer. But she didn't. She said he needs it for the twit longer. Later on, later on, she also contributed by also mentioning, what the freak were you trying to do? Were you trying to
know what extra means? But in this case, what is the maximum and the minimum degree to which Dylan would be involved in writing a twit longer based on the implications of this message that you're like ascribing a lot of value to?
Sorry, say one more time.
Okay. What is the maximum degree and minimum degrees that Dylan could have been involved in writing this twit longer based on the message that you're like saying is a smoking gun?
Oh, sure. So from that thing alone, we don't know for sure that he wrote it solely by himself or that he was the sole author.
Can you answer my question?
I'm answering your question.
Okay.
Was that not an answer to your question?
No.
Okay. So you keep saying the same freaking words. So then obviously I'm not understanding your question.
What is the minimum degree?
So reword it.
Sure,
Reword it. Find better words because you keep saying the same thing over and over again. And I've said multiple times to you, as good faith and possibly, I don't understand what you're asking. So since I've tried to respond multiple times and those responses weren't satisfactory, use better words because I don't understand what you're saying.
Based on the message, Dylan was involved in writing the twit longer. Correct? That's the implication. What is the minimum degree Dylan could have been involved in the twit longer that you think this message indicates?
I mean, I guess the degree is I mean he lightly contributed, I guess.
What does that mean, lightly contributed? What is the minimum degree? What is an action that he could have? What is the
I don't know what the freak this is on.
Okay, we'll take some time and think about it, and then
it's not about me taking time to think about it. It's that you're trying your best.
It doesn't seem that important to you.
You're trying your best once again to shift the burden away from the fact that Dylan Byrne agreed to specific terminology with Prime. He said specifically he would do certain things, didn't do those things for over a month, and then said that the reason why those things didn't happen was because of you. So now you answer that. Why did Dylan not do the things that he said he would do for over a month? Why did it take him a month? Why did that happen? Because I believe there are only three possibilities. Either you told Dylan that it was no longer responsible because that's what Dylan said happened, or Dylan lied on you and he just didn't want to do it, right? Those are the only that's all I can really think of. Can you paint me another picture? What happened?
Sure. So the day before the apology, we had a long stream in the middle of the night. I basically pulled like an all-nighter and mediated a conversation between the two. And as part of that conversation, Prime had a list of demands for Dylan to meet. And part of those demands was that Dylan would do an apology stream and that he would apologize for very specific things. Basically had a bulleted list of all the things he wanted Dylan to apologize for. We figured that out. We negotiated the things like some of the, for example, that Prime wanted apologies for are things that like Samantha did, for example. So like we were able to change the wording around a little bit and like figure out ways to help Prime, like, understand that, like, there were some things that, maybe Dylan shouldn't be taking responsibility for, other than, for example, the things that Samantha said. Dylan should be taking responsibility for the fact that he, like, let her make accusations on his stream without verifying them or something like that. So we worked out this, like, really intricate set of demands that Dylan meet, and a lot of those came through that apology stream. Have you seen that stream?
Yep.
Okay. So that was, like, most of the demands. You earlier claimed that Dylan hadn't met half of them. So I want to be clear that, like, most of the demands were met, like, during that stream. At the very end of that stream, Prime basically brought up a new demand that we had not negotiated, which was that Dylan wouldn't talk about Prime anymore. And you can see the surprise on Dylan's face at the end of that stream, where he's like, "What the hell? Like, we didn't talk about this." So Dylan had done.
It wasn't a demand; it was a request.
Okay, here was a complication. Do you understand?
How is that complicated? If you were required to pin something to your Discord, right, and pin something to your Twitter, you
asked me. I'm helping you understand how things happened. Are you interested in that?
Wait, no. Because again, I feel like you're
trying to litigate some shit.
No. I'm not trying to litigate anything. What's happening is, once again, I made very clear, very concrete things, and you just gave me a bunch of backstory of which everyone is aware, and that has nothing to do with specifically what I'm specifically. Okay. Let's just make. Okay, I see it, because you are literally the biggest weasel of all time. So it's really specifically, did Prime, prior to Dylan's stream in which he was doing the apology, did Prime specifically say that he wanted Dylan to pin a tweet to his Twitter? Yes or no?
I see why you've been so busy
yes
with
or no.
You
yes
don't have
or no. Yes or no. There it is again. Did Prime specifically ask Dylan to pin a tweet prior to the apology stream? Was that in the demands? Yes or no?
Yeah, it was in the demands prior to.
All right, was it also in the demands for Dylan to pin to his Discord his apology to Prime? Yes or no?
Yeah, that was part of the demands as well.
Okay, both of those were in the demands. Clearly, did anything happen within that video that would have indicated that Dylan was no longer required to pin the messages to his Twitter and his Discord?
So that was part of the confusion. That was the complication. Was that during the apology stream, Dylan considered, hang on a minute, this guy's, like, dropping new requests on me. Like,
what was the new request?
The request was that Prime would no longer mention that Dylan would no longer mention Prime.
Sure.
And that this was a request that was being dropped after the list of demands had been agreed upon, and before everything on that list of demands had been delivered. And so Dylan was like, well, okay, I guess, like, fuck 4 hours we took last night to figure this out and agree on a bunch of stuff.
Wait, no, hold on. This is absolutely absurd. Just to make sure that this is adequately framed here. So what it was here's a list of demands, one of which is to pin Twitter, one of which is I want your video to be up permanently, one of which is to make sure that your that the Discord has a pin as well, and that you apologize for specific things. These are all the demands that I have. Now, we do the apology stream. As the apology stream is happening, at the end, in closing statements, Prime specifically says, hey, don't, please leave me alone. Please don't, talk about me anymore. That was specifically what Prime asked. And after doing that, that somehow means now, the lack of logic it requires to assume now that Dylan is no longer to leave up his video permanently. He's no longer required to pin the Twitter. He's no longer, that sounds ridiculous. It's what he's basically saying, and I think anyone here listening to this can understand that. It's basically, I no longer want, it's a keep my name out of your mouth, right? Keep my name out of your mouth, moving forward. That doesn't mean that you're not going to leave that video up where you're clarifying all of the mistakes that were made, about me. That doesn't mean that you're not supposed to still do the apology as everything else we stated. It just means moving forward, don't do anything new regarding talking about me or my stream or disparaging me, because Dylan had done all of those things. Is any of that? That's what that sounds like. That doesn't mean you're no longer required to do the things that we all agreed to that you said you would do.
Okay. Step down off your soapbox for a second, because I understand, you're trying to frame things a certain way. You came here to ask me how things proceeded. I'm here to tell you how that happened. wow, that stuff all maybe sounds really egregious to
You
you.
gave me an
when you
answer.
put it that
It
way.
didn't sound reasonable.
Just
It didn't sound
hang on.
reasonable.
I'll inform you how this occurred. So Dylan had this complication, right? There was that, and then the fact that like Prime had uploaded a video entitled it. He claims his editor titled it "Dylan bends the knee" or something like that. That also wasn't part of the agreement. And like considering this was a difficult negotiation, like I understand Dylan's perspective that it was like, wow, we like worked really hard to like try to satisfy. I wanted to like satisfy all this guy's demands, and then now it seems like he's like trying to rub things in my face or like taking liberties or something. Whether or not we feel that Prime was justified in doing this, I understand that it was like, okay, like the two of them worked really hard, and myself included, and like reaching an optimal outcome, and that it seems like Prime was doing things that we had not discussed to try to like aggravate the the situation after the fact. And it all sounds really crazy that Dylan maybe didn't go on to fulfill all the things in the demands or whatever. But I talked to Dylan behind the scenes. I talked to Prime behind the scenes, and then Dylan got it done. Like over the course of the next coming weeks, we talked about it in private. There was a miscommunication
It was a
on my
month.
part
It was a month, not weeks. It was a month.
Sure. So we talked about it over the coming weeks, and there was a miscommunication on my part, and we cleared that up, and then eventually Dylan fulfilled all the demands.
So okay. So my question.
So now who sounds
so basically,
silly?
this is so crazy. I feel like you
There's
believe
so
that
much.
some
There's
sort
so
of-
much
you-
information you
I
were
feel like
missing,
some
but you
sort
were
of
so
way.
aggressive
No,
about this.
nothing you've said was clarification at all. None of the information you provided
Okay,
actually does
all right.
anything to it. One, you haven't said anything that I wasn't aware of. I was aware of that you guys had that conversation. I know that. Like that I knew that before the conversation happened. I was aware that there were
Okay.
specific demands, which is can make the claims that I am, right? Which is why I can make the
Uh-huh.
claims that these things weren't actually met. I was in
Well, you made a
conversation
lot
with
of
Prime.
claims that
I was
didn't
in
happen.
Okay, name another. I don't
Sure,
know. I
Dylan
don't need
didn't
to do that.
fulfill
No.
half the
I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't.
You asked me to name them, and now you're...
No. And I realized
Okay.
I did originally say that, but then I just realized I'm talking to wicked supremacists. I know all you're going to do is talk around the issues as you've been attempting to do this entire time. Again, all you did. So
You're such a
still,
clown.
so what you're doing once again is trying to shift it in some sort of way to Prime's responsibility, right? So now. These were the demands. These were the demands. You did agree to them after we made the demands, and you agreed to them. You didn't do them, and now you're trying to say, well, he didn't do them because Prime made a video, in which there was a video hosted by on Prime's channel that said Dylan Burns bend the knee. How does Dylan Burns Prime saying Dylan bends the knee like exonerate or absolve freaking Dylan Burns of his responsibility? Like, it doesn't happen.
So the fact that Prime had a video called Dylan Burns bends the knee, it doesn't sound like an overstep or like an act of aggression on Prime's part, right?
If Prime was as aggressive as he freaking wanted, I'm sorry. No, I got you. I'm responding.
You asked me, okay.
I am responding. Was in their conversation, did Dylan Burns require that Prime not speak about Dylan in any capacity? Was that ever stated?
I'm sorry, what is it?
During their conversation, did Dylan Burns require Prime not to speak about Dylan Burns in any capacity? Was that ever stated?
Did Dylan Burns require that Prime not speak about Dylan Burns? No.
Okay, so then that means that Prime, using his free speech, doing whatever the freak he wants to, since that wasn't in any part of the terms of the contract in any capacity, then it doesn't exonerate or it doesn't absolve Dylan Burns of his commitments. And his commitment was to pin a tweet and to pin it to his Discord, both of which didn't happen. So Prime having a video that says Dylan Burns bends the knee has literally nothing to do with those commitments. Right.
Okay, so you're saying that does not excuse that Dylan Burns is not reasonable in feeling that like there was some undue aggression that undid the work of the negotiation based on a video titled Dylan Burns bends the knee, right? That's what you're saying? That
Absolutely.
We wouldn't consider that like undue aggression? Interesting. Okay. Well,
No. I'm not saying that we wouldn't consider it undue aggression. I think one aggression was due.
What would make it undue?
It would be undue if it was I'm sorry. The thing that makes it fair is because of the fact that Dylan Burns was extremely aggressive in his attempts to tame Prime and extremely loud with his accusations, and the apology was incredibly quiet. So I could see Prime feeling like, Well, considering how quiet the apology is, considering that these things haven't been met, like that he didn't fulfill all of his obligations, I see him saying, and even if he did, I'm still well within my rights to be able to say that Dylan Burns bended the knee, because considering he was literally trying to end my career and
If he
my
felt within his
livelihood.
rights to do that, why did he tell his editor to change it immediately and then ask me to apologize to Dylan for it?
I don't know. If okay, so if that happened,
I know you don't know. I'm asking you now.
What? I don't know. I feel like that's a gotcha of some kind. It's crazy.
I know you don't know about this. That's why I'm asking you.
Right. I was going on to respond. Why did you feel like you needed to interject there? Did I not continue on?
Good.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
I know you feel like you got me.
Right.
Just go ahead and chill. So anyway,
Right, okay.
really quick, if I could go ahead.
Yeah, finish your point. Sorry, and then Big Papa Fascist is here, and I think he's got some insights he wanted to share. So.
Okay, so I literally don't know why Prime did that.
No.
But well, you're asking me to speak to a person's intentions, and I feel like you think it's a gotcha of some kind that I can. You feel I feel like you think it's a gotcha of some kind for me to admit. I don't know what the driving, motivating factors were behind Prime's intentions. I don't have access to that information, nor would I ever claim to. So that's why I don't know. But it's crazy that you feel like it's a gotcha. But what I can say is, even if Prime did apologize for that, it still doesn't change the fact that Dylan reneged on what his commitments were, and that specific thing, he did a month later, right?
Yeah. So it took some weeks to like figure it out and like get them on this page and for Dylan to fulfill the things.
Right. And so
the thing that you're saying was not like a good justification for Dylan to not fulfill them immediately. It seems that Prime agreed that they were. Because he had me extend an apology to Dylan.
Wait, hold on. You apologizing doesn't mean that somehow that this absolved you of your responsibility to do what you were supposed to do, to what you committed to. What? Those two aren't necessary. Those two.
Well, apparently that's not how Prime felt, because he apparently like told his editor to change it, and then he asked me to apologize to Dylan.
Wait, so maybe he can feel like it's a misstep. Does he feel like that misstep allows for Dylan Burns to renege on what he said he would do? Where are you getting that?
He understood enough. I asked him if it would be okay if Dylan, still didn't tweet and did the Discord announcement thing a month late, and he said yes, and they agreed. And
okay,
the terms were fulfilled, and it satisfied both parties. And now those like you come out of the woodwork and are trying to like take this on his behalf.
Trying again. So at first it's like,
what do you mean trying again?
I'll explain. So it's like he apologized, so he knows that this was somehow related. And it's like, wait, no, those aren't necessarily related. Well, yeah, but he did agree to it. He did agree to like changing video, and he did apologize and told me to issue an apology. And he said it's okay. Dylan continues on with his obligation. Like, that doesn't mean that those two things are necessarily correlated at all.
I mean, like, we worked it out behind the scenes. I asked Prime, like I said, here's what...
You're trying so hard. Dylan,
what am I trying?
You're trying your best to say what Dylan Burns did in the most palliative manner possible. Let me just make sure that we're clear here. So just to be sure, Dylan Burns did indeed intend to end Prime's career. Yes or no?
I have no reason to believe that's true.
Okay, what about the statement that Dylan Burns was saying that Prime Cayes stream collapsed faster than the Afghanistan government, and he wanted to create a refugee camp for Prime Cayes viewers to come to his stream? Did Dylan Burns make that statement?
Yeah, I think charitably we would interpret that as just like Dylan Burns making jobs or whatever. Or like...
Okay, so I can see how you could be that charitable, but then also Katarana agreed and made the statement that her and Dylan Burns had a conversation behind closed doors in which she felt that it was that she felt scared, or she felt hesitant or reluctant to come forward because she felt that all of the people publicly that all of the smaller content creators and streamers and participants in Prime's community wouldn't have anywhere to go once Prime lost his platform. And Dylan responded and said, hey, it's okay. Like you're still doing the right thing. So that indicates to me that both her and Dylan both had the expectation that Prime's thing would that Prime's career would disappear. And Dylan later on in that same conversation went on to say that if maybe in some time Prime can eventually come back
Okay.
to this space. The fact that he made a statement, Prime can come back to this space, means that Dylan did believe that Prime was going to lose it.
Listen,
So
I don't
beyond
care,
the joke, beyond the joke, beyond the joke, beyond the hold on, I'm going to finish the statement. I'm going to finish the statement. I'm going to finish the statement.
No,
I'm going to finish the statement. I'm
forever.
going to finish. Okay, good. Sure. I'm going to go. Okay, good. I'm going to continue to talk forever, and you're going to shut the hell up and let me finish. So beyond this statement, beyond this statement, beyond. Well, no. Or you can let me finish. Chud, can you please go ahead and mute him so I can finish my statement?
Okay, right. Let's right.
Chud, go ahead and just mute him. I'm going to continue to talk. Go ahead and mute him so I can finish my statement. So beyond that, beyond the joke,
I guess he forgot what stream this was.
Beyond the joke,
listen, if we're going to play the game, I can also.
Chud, can you please mute him? I was literally finishing a statement. I didn't finish all of his statements.
Okay. You're both getting fucking muted. Okay. No one can hear you. No one can hear you talking. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Right. Andrew, can I call you Andrew? Is that okay?
Yeah, call me Andrew.
How's it going? You okay?
Good.
Good stuff. Okay. Right. So I've muted those two for a second. Okay. I'm gonna. What I want to do is just I want you to bring whatever it is your insight you want to bring to the table. So what is it you've got to say?
So a lot of to-do has been made about me saying that there's movers and shakers who operate in the background of Twitch, who do all sorts of influence peddling, gatekeeping, and also drama bait, and set up events in order to create content for different creators, and you guys all scoff and act like some sort of bizarre conspiracy. So I wanted to bring to the table a name, and I wonder if any of you know it. Have any of you heard of a behind-the-scenes person named Queen Alexa?
Okay, before that happens, I need to finish making sure.
Okay, listen, we're just gonna play this game again, so I want to just go ahead and keep talking and let you restate the beginning of the same sentence over and over.
Okay. Well, what is it? Okay.
Finishing a statement. I was finishing a statement.
Listen, if you're going to be strategic about this, I'm going to be strategic about this. I actually want to answer BPF's question.
Do I want to? Am I going to be able to?
Okay, for the coach to come in.
But I was talking.
Fanatiq. Okay, right. Listen. Fanatiq. Okay. What I want to understand, I'm happy for you to say what you got to say, but I just don't want to get in this cycle where you two are just butting heads. It doesn't really move us anywhere. So I guess what I want to understand is like, what are you trying to achieve? What is it you're trying to do in what you're saying, or what is it you're trying to get out exactly?
After I finish my statement, then I will answer your question.
Okay, go ahead and try.
Thank you. So if he's
okay, so listen. Okay, go ahead and try.
So
I'm going to mute Supreme. Listen. I'm going to mute Supreme. Okay, because listen, me and Supreme are chill.
I want to answer Andrew's question.
Okay, you will be able to, Supreme. Right. I'm going to mute Supreme. Okay, and you're going to speak, and then when you finish speaking, I'm going to unmute Supreme. Okay, that's what's going to happen. Right. Let's go.
Thank you. That's all I asked to do from the beginning. So just to make sure that we're clear here, beyond just the joke that Dylan Burns made, that he claimed was a joke, which I don't believe was a joke, as indicated by the fact that him and Katarana had private conversations in which they were literally, where Katarana was bemoaning what's going to happen to Prime Cayes community now that Prime Cayes wouldn't be in the air. And then Dylan Burns also made surrounding statements saying things like, when Prime comes after time, he can reform and then he can come back to Twitch. The fact that he says he can come back to Twitch is indicative of the idea that he believed he no longer be present in Twitch. So I think there is enough indication from Dylan Burns' own mouth that he clearly intended for Prime to no longer be in this space. So I don't like the idea that Wicked Supreme, aka Wicked Supremacist, is trying to like say it as if, oh no, he didn't really mean it. So my question to Wicked Supreme originally was, did Dylan Burns indicate that he wanted Prime Cayes' channel to be gone? And he said no. But he was basing it off of that one statement. But obviously we have multiple. So given those additional statements, do you believe that Dylan Burns clearly indicated that he didn't want to, that he clearly wanted to end his career, or he expected him not to be there?
Okay, that's what we're going to do. We're going to swap round now. Okay, we're going to swap the mutes round so we don't get any interruption. I'm going to let Supreme respond. I think you spoke for about a minute and a half, say 2 minutes maybe. So Fanatiq is now muted. Supreme, you can respond. Okay. And then I want to get into what Big Papa Fascist is saying because, despite mine and Big Papa Fascist's agreement, he's been waiting a while and I just want to keep this moving. So, Supreme.
Okay. To be clear, to Andrew, I have no idea who this person. I've literally never heard the name of the person that you mentioned. Aside from that, So the idea is that your Fanatic is trying to hold me to account. Strangely, I don't know why. For the intentions of why Dylan must have said something, which he's only left to interpret. I'm not capable of telling you what Dylan's meant or what Dylan's thought about the future of Prime's career. Maybe he thought that he was ending Prime's career. Maybe he thought he wasn't. Maybe he was making that prediction. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe it's reasonable to assume that he thought that this would be the end of Prime's career. Maybe he didn't truly believe or intend to accomplish that. I can't answer for that. I don't know why you're coming for me for that, but I can't answer that. What is true, though, it seems to me that you're coming to this situation long after the fact, as usual, wandering in, absent most of the information, it seems like, and trying to take things personally on other people's behalf. When all this stuff happened, we met privately to work out the details. We asked Prime what would bring him satisfaction. He generated a list. Complications in delivering everything on that list. We worked hard again to try to meet Prime's satisfaction, and eventually everything was hunky dory and everything was resolved. So I'm just curious, like, why you're here today. All this drama is dead and buried. Everything was resolved. Like, what is the point, and what do I have to do with it?
Okay, right. So I don't know where we're going to go from here. I'm just going to throw it back out there to like open conversation. Big Papa Fash, if you want to chime in and say something, everyone's unmuted. Just try and pick up the thread and go from there.
So, no, it's bullshit.
Thanks
First
a
and
lot.
foremost, nothing's dead and buried. I've already explained ad nauseum that this affects everybody who's inside of Twitch. If one streamer whose high profile can be targeted and eliminated, then that's all of our business, whether you want it to be or not, Wicked. If you want to run interference for Burns or not, people are not going to just let it go. That's one. Two, I have been asked to bring proof that these syndicates or these small little groups exist as influence peddlers all over the place. One such name is Queen Alexa. And what that person did was they wanted to try to break into the scene as some kind of setting up different creators with panels and things like this. Now, Queen Alexa, it has been known behind the scenes for days, was grooming a child inside of Alexa's Discord. Multiple content creators know that this is true, and they've kept it completely and totally quiet.
It sounds really interesting. Do you have any evidence to show us?
Yes,
Wait, hold on.
I do.
Cool.
I gotta get out of here. I don't know anything about this, and I don't want to be part of that.
Goodbye.
All I had was specifically. Chud, you mute him again if he whatever. All I had was specifically these things, right? And just as someone.
Well, but what this shows for you, Fanatiq, is shows that this type of thing occurs often for the purpose of drama baiting. Okay. And that does yield to your side very well, but fair enough. Whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Look, the thing is, I don't deal with things that I don't know about, and I don't have any information on that topic whatsoever. And to be honest with you, I don't like multiple people conversations. If I can do a one-on-one, then I think it's maybe preferable. And I feel like this just shifts the conversation to a whole bunch of things. Because my intention, there were a few things that I wanted out of this conversation. Number one, I still feel like an injustice has been done to Prime in the sense that there has been what I would say, well, I don't know about irreparable, but still to date, is yet to be repaired. Harm to Prime's channel. He doesn't have his Amazon Lily panel. We've seen his trajectory change dramatically as a result of those accusations. So those things are problematic to me. Two, again, I think it's really insane to me that Dylan Burns didn't just come with this. He didn't just receive information. He literally came up with it. He initiated a bunch of this stuff. Katarana did not have the initial interest in doing that. And then I think it's even worse when you start recognizing that these people have intentions of going on to continue to profit off of that. Katarana just recently mentioned that she intends to have a panel in which they're going to be discussing parasocial relationships or relationships between larger and smaller content creators, in which Dylan Burns would be present for that. Given the circumstances of that initial accusation against Prime, I think it's pretty freaking gross. We knew what her intentions were, and I think for her to include Dylan Burns in something like that is absolutely gross. I think the fact that Dylan Burns didn't do what he was supposed to do for the first month, and Supreme was supposed to be the negotiator. I feel like I think he's responsible for that. What I've also found is that very
So
often.
Dylan and Prime
Let
work
me
things
finish.
out
Let me
on their
get
own
Chud,
terms.
Okay,
can I
Who
finish,
the,
please?
wait, who the fuck are you
But
though?
you-
Who the fuck are you, Fanatiq?
What I've also
Who the fuck are
found-
you?
what
Who
I've-
cares how
what
you
I've-
feel
what
about
I've-
this? Why should we care
Right.
how you feel about this?
Or else I can't finish.
Tell me why we
What
should
I've
care how
you know,
you feel
okay,
about
can
this.
you?
I've
Okay,
also
listen,
found-
listen.
what
I'm
I've
going to be.
also
Listen, I'll be
found-
Supreme, but can you start to wrap it up because you have been talking for quite a while. And
Sure.
I wanna just...
Okay, that's great. That's great. I will mute him. So what I've also found is that most of the people in this platform like literally refuse to actually condemn Dylan. Like when I spoke to Heemed out and he was saying, "Oh, it's incredibly irresponsible of Prime to sleep with Katarana like in this situation. Like, that's just so irresponsible and it's terrible." And then I'm like, okay, what you said, then Dylan Burns, like considering she's living under Dylan Burns' roof and he's a bigger content creator, so the gap is even larger. And so, she has more financial and initiative, and it's just obviously a bigger power imbalance. You say that Dylan Burns is just young, and he was like, I don't think it's a good idea. It's like, so Prime is out wrong. Dylan Burns, I don't think it's a good idea. And I find all of these people are incredibly feckless and refuse to outright condemn Dylan Burns for what he did.
Okay, so I'm going to unmute Supreme. I mean, I don't know what the situation is now. There's been a very serious allegation made that, I want to address because, I mean, funnily enough, Queen Alexa, I'm actually guest hosting one of their panels later. Obviously, there's a serious allegation that's been made. Spectre's got some insight, so I'm just going to bring him in. Spectre, leave it for a sec. In terms of this disagreement between you, Fanatiq, and you, Supreme, I don't know how much further we can go with this. I mean, it seems like you're kind of just butting heads. I don't really know where to take it from here. So
I have nothing to do with this. This sounds like somebody taking somebody else's dispute personally, like just completely donning somebody else's, I don't know, dishonor, even though they seem to have worked it out behind the scenes. I don't know what it has to do with me. But yeah, I don't know. Go have fun. Do a stream, Fanatiq. Do a stream. That Dylan Burns
I'll tell you what it has to do with you. What it has to do with you is the fact that you, like, I've already like put yourself in the middle of this because you were the go-between. You were the one having the conversations. You were supposed to be the one
okay, go to a stream. Go to a stream. I actually don't care. Go to a stream.
Go to a stream. The reason it has to do with you is you specifically said you had the access to the information because you were there for the conversation. Dylan Burns specifically said you must have miscommunicated to him, so you were the reason why he didn't carry out the plan because you told him that it was no longer important. That's what Dylan Burns said. So the reason why I'm talking about you is because I know that Prime trusted you to make sure that these things were carried out, and you didn't.
They were.
Not for the first month. Do you not understand?
There were some complications. We worked out. It had nothing to do with you.
The complications came from you. Do you not understand that for someone to do something a month after it happens, obviously is not nearly as effective? Do you agree to that statement? Yes or no?
So Prime would be perfectly well within his right to say no. It's not satisfactory to. Well, I'm answering your question for Dylan to deliver this stuff a month after the fact. But when I asked him if it would be okay, he said yeah. So. I don't know. That seems satisfactory to him.
It's not satisfactory. It'd be
to you, it's not. Who cares what you think?
No. You're making a statement that can't be verified from the thing that you're saying, right?
I'm telling you.
You're definitely.
I'm telling you. Wait, what can't be verified? What can't be verified?
You're extrapolating further.
What can't be verified?
I'm going to explain. You're extrapolating further from what that statement actually implies. For example, like say if someone. Like if I decide to not pay a credit card, right? And so then now I have late fees and all whatever. And now maybe 6 months later, it's like, hey, can I go ahead and pay the card? It's like, well, sure, you can go ahead and pay off the balance now, but it doesn't fix the fact that there's all of these other problems with it. So yes, these were things Prime wanted. So of course, even a month later, even 2 months later, if it hadn't happened, Prime would still say, yes, I want this to happen. But does that mean that it really fixed everything? Does that mean that like it was as effective as it should have been? Does that not mean that the issue, like now that the drama has gone on and you've like issued this smaller apology, that mean that it's going to rectify all of the damage done? Not even close.
Okay. Well, Prime agreed that it would. Prime said
wait. So Prime said, okay, no. Let me just make sure.
You're saying that something on Prime's checklist that wasn't done yet?
Wait, hold on, Spectre. Please don't be off yourself. You don't need to. I can, whatever. So Supreme.
Happy to do that.
Wait, it's a Supreme. You specifically are now saying that Prime said that this would fully rectify the weight and everything. Prime made that statement.
I asked him if it would be okay you know, if he would still accept it if Dylan did this even like a month or whatever, and Prime said he would.
Okay, do you get the difference between yes, I would still accept this, or yes, I would still accept this, and and still being able to maintain it's not as effective as it would have been initially, and I feel
According
like
to
it
who?
wrong. I'm sorry. Can these statements exist? Yes, I still want you to do it, and I also will agree that this is not as effective as it would have been had you initially done it. I feel like your delay is also a harm in and of itself.
Okay,
Can those be present?
I just want to make it clear, like, how much weirder the accusation is now than
So you're
when
not
you
gonna
first entered this stream.
So you're not going to answer that?
I can say that can be
Please do
fine, and
so.
that's up to Prime to make that case, but you're here doing it.
Okay, so
Is this on? Are you speaking on, like, did Prime ask you to come and say all this stuff, or are you just kind of like wandering in and?
Prime did not ask me to come speak on these things. Prime and I did have private conversations in which he like expressed a lot of this stuff. When everything went down, there were not a lot of.
When was this?
A while ago. I don't know.
How long ago?
I would have to go through my DMs. I mean, the accusation on
about 6 months ago. Jim also had quite a few private conversations.
Go through your DMs.
Wait,
that's why I'm asking what is it on the checklist?
The accusation, Spectre. I'm sorry. I'm talking to Supreme. I don't do multiple conversations that way. That's not going to happen. The accusation happened, right? The apology happened in August. That was on August 21st, I believe. Since then, Prime had conversations in which we were like talking about the fact that he still hasn't done this thing. Like he still didn't carry out his end of the bargain, right? So that's so from that and prior to like the apology, when everything was still going down, while they were still trying to aggressively take his career, I very much was defending Prime during that time, and which was crazy because a lot of people were abandoning him, people who were supposed to be his friends.
I wanted to let this dead air hang, this like who the fuck asked moment, but I think that was long enough.
You asked me did Prime? I'm sorry. Look, Supreme, it's so crazy to me how bad you look in this situation. You keep assuming that some sort of way you're getting me, right? Because it's like you asked me a question, like, did Prime ask you to speak for him? And it's like, no, he didn't ask to do that, but I'm explaining, and I think anyone listening actually can understand why I even felt compelled to do so. Right? Like, and that's what I did. I did that. If that wasn't enough for you, then that's your problem with your comprehension. I can't take responsibility for that.
Okay, so because you felt like you wanted to defend your friend Prime, and that you wanted to work on his behalf, you took some information that you had, and based on the information that you had, like a long time ago, after further developments have been made, instead of reaching clarification, instead of maybe contacting the parties involved and like trying to understand this better, you kind of just like took your half-baked narrative based on like a handful of information that you had and started attacking people and accusing people, and now here we are.
Well, I don't really care about your framing, so sure. I mean, I guess so. I took the information that I had, which has been accurate, that Dylan Burns reneged,
it hasn't,
and what you've done thus far is try your best, try to paint Dylan Burns reneging on his obligations and like try to like shift it onto everyone, right? So first you try to say, oh well, it's really Prime's fault.
Dude, I've heard enough. I'm sorry. Can this be over? Like, I feel like we've litigated every detail of this.
First you try to say it's Prime's fault for making a video that said so Dylan Burns bends the knee, as if that had anything to do with it.
So these are all details that were hashed out by the two of them that had nothing to do with you. I don't know. What do you want me to say? I told you all the details, really and the degree to which that we like work things out behind the scenes.
Okay, so it's really simple. Do you feel, did Dylan Burns indicate that he intended through his stream? Did he indicate that he intended for Prime's stream?
I can't answer for this. You're asking me to like crawl inside Dylan's head and tell you what I think is intended or something. No, like
I'm sorry. Maybe you're misunderstanding.
Look,
what I asked was from the statements he made. Would it be fair to say that it was indicative of the belief that he expected Prime's career to end?
Why do I have to answer for this?
Okay,
like, what does this have to do with me?
You were the go-between, and you refuse to condemn Dylan. That's the problem. You keep on doing it. You're not trying to actually admit Dylan Burns.
I'll answer your question real quick. If you don't mind handing me the mic. Okay, enough. That's enough.
Okay, right. I've said MrFanatiq. Right, listen. This has got to be the last of it. Okay, because Big Papa Fascist wants to say his piece. So this is the last comment.
Sure. So saying that I refuse to condemn Dylan, we just finished watching a video where I talked to this Andrew Wilson guy where I literally was, I don't know what to say. Like I said that what I thought Dylan did was wrong. And I like maintain that to this day, saying that I refuse to condemn Dylan Burns. We just watched me do it in an interview 2 days ago when somebody asked me about this fucking months-old drama.
Okay, right.
It's been consistent since the night of drama.
Fanatiq, I'm going to unmute. I don't want more fucking paragraphs. Welcome. Can we please draw this to an end so we can get into the other stuff? Right, go.
All right, I feel you, Chud. You wouldn't get paragraphs if it wasn't for the fact that every time I ask a direct question, he just goes on and on and on and doesn't address the thing that I'm saying. So I have to make sure that it's adequately framed.
Okay, you asked to condemn Dylan. I'm asking you. I'm telling you that I have done it consistently.
So yes,
is there a disagreement on this?
It's the most soft-egged version of a condemnation I've ever encountered. For example, it's like,
what do you want me to do? Piss on his grave?
I'm going to answer. I condemn Dylan Burns for not vetting information. That was a problem too.
I do too. I've done that consistently since literally immediately after that stream.
But that's not the problem. But that's not the problem. The problem isn't just not vetting information. The problem was him concocting half of the accusations in the first place and trying to tank his competition.
You'd have to show some evidence.
While you also did that, by the way, you tried to lie and imply that Dylan Burns and Brian Cayes weren't competition at all. Did you not?
Listen, if you have further accusations to make, let's see some evidence, okay? Like,
did you not?
We'll address it when you have evidence.
Did you not?
Did I not? I'm sorry. It's so like you talked.
Did you not?
Did I not?
Did you not? It was a very short sentence.
Okay, for you.
Okay, yeah.
Right, this is the last comment, and then we're moving on because this is just last thing. Go.
You lie and imply that Prime Cayes and Dylan Burns were not competition.
So when asked if I consider Prime to be Dylan's competition, yeah, I said I wouldn't really consider Prime Cayes to be Dylan's competition as such. The dynamics of like their presence in the space, there are some elements of competition to be considered, and there are also some elements of collaboration to be considered. I think that Prime's presence on the space did have some like positive impact on Dylan's presence in the space, and there was some competition can be considered as well. But like the level of benefit that Dylan would have enjoyed by Prime not being on the platform, I think is negligible. So like considering Prime quote unquote Dylan's competition in this regard, such that Dylan would feel justified in trying to end his career unjustly, I don't think it's reasonable to assume.
So you say that Dylan wouldn't have gotten any severe benefit from it, but yet
sorry. If you guys want to talk about small, you're gonna have to hash this out elsewhere. Look, I've heard this as long as I can. I appreciate there's more to say, but look, BPF Fascist has come in to say his piece. So can we just? And I brought Spectre in because he wants to respond to it. So if you want to stay around for that, fine. If you want to shoot, that's fine. I'm sorry. I'd like to have it go on further, but there's more people that want to say the piece. Okay, so BPF Fascist, go.
Anyway, what I was saying was that this person, Queen Alexa, has been grooming an underage child inside of their server, which was recently nuked. And that many...
That, yeah?
Yes, I have evidence for it.
You see that?
No, you can't see it.
Oh, okay.
But it doesn't...
Then you shouldn't be making accusations.
Yeah, this is...
Watch.
This is not...
Yeah, you know why I'm not going to? Because it's going to come out in the next day or two anyway, and I'm not going to reveal what got it.
I'm not because I've literally seen their DMs streamed already. Because we've already done rehashed this all up, fucking behind this.
Okay, listen, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Wait.
Show us the information tomorrow, and we'll talk.
You already rehashed. Hang on, I just want to make sure that this is clear. You already rehashed this.
I've seen quite a few DMs. If you have
where did you
shows her grooming a minor, I would love to fucking see it.
Where did you rehash it?
Where did we hash it? I don't have to tell you who I speak with.
Well, right. Okay. So the thing is that you just said we hashed it out where? Behind the scene.
Me and a few other people have spoken to Alexa, and we've spoken to the people who are accusing Alexa. And so far, the people who are accusing Alexa are unable to produce evidence of any sort of grooming. So if you have it, I would love to see it. So
I don't.
Cut ties and make sure this person has no influence left in the community.
Just so that we're clear, you and several other people behind the scenes have been hashing this out away from the public eye, correct?
Yeah. No, several streamers and me.
Yeah, you fucking disingenuous, you motherfucking disingenuous bastards. Pretended like this isn't what happens all the fuck time, and it does. You sit behind the fucking scenes. Shut up, shut the fuck up.
I'm talking.
I wasn't here for that. Shut the fuck up until I'm finished. You motherfuckers pretended that
you can just call me the Caseler. It's okay.
You don't fucking sit. What the fuck? Where did that come from? So now you're going to try to make some type of allegation that
I'm not making
what?
an allegation. I'm just saying.
Okay.
That, you can just
that's right. So just shut the fuck up then till I'm done. Okay, you motherfuckers sit behind the scenes all the time. Okay, and you find all of this type of information gets sent to you, and you literally litigate it behind the scenes, right? You don't fucking let the public know anything about it, right? And you will use that kind of shit, influence peddling, or for blackmail, or for all types of things like that.
I want to be very clear on what happens, right? People come to
tell us what
other
happens.
Streamers. People come to other streamers that people like Alexa are in contact with, right, and accuse her of grooming people. Now, this is going to make streamers such as Chud, possibly, or other people that she's in contact with, uncomfortable. So the people who have been have had that information brought to them, right, will generally get together and okay, well, we need to talk to this individual, and then go talk to the people who are using this individual and see, like, what's going on here? Is there evidence? Just being pedo jacketed? What the fuck is up, right?
And as far as
this everybody can tell from the accusers coming out of Joe, I can finish, right?
Let Spectre finish, and then you can respond. Okay.
Yeah, cool. So as far as all of us who have looked at the evidence from both Alexa's side and the side of people who are accusing her can tell, there was no fucking grooming. There just isn't. Like, if you have the evidence, then fucking show it. Otherwise, shut the fuck up.
Got it. So my first experience with dealing with Queen Alexa was I got a DM from Queen Alexa at like 12 o'clock at night, maybe 1 in the morning, something like that, saying, hey, Brittany from Politically Provoked is in our chat right now. Okay, and then I got another one from a guy named Bubblegum saying, hey, Politically Provoked is in the chat right now. We've got Brittany in the chat. Let's all ambush Politically Provoked. Now, I knew instantly that was a setup and a trap, and I told them both to go fuck themselves, and I've got the DMs to prove that too. Okay? But what happened? Brittany, the stupid dumbass that she is, actually went in there and got ambushed by these people.
If you're making this accusation, you have to show us the evidence.
And I will show you that. I will show you. Can I finish? Can I fuck this motherfucker? Either shut the fuck up and let me finish, or I'll just leave the call because it'll all come out anyway.
Go on about the people who control the including Twitch. It's fine.
Yeah. So I'm not saying anything about the people that control the media. I'm telling you that this literally happened in real time. So, and I will give you all the DMs proving that this happened. Now, what ended up happening was, shut the fuck up, motherfucker. Shut.
Right, let's all just try and get our piece out. Let's all just try and get our piece out, okay? I mean, but if you haven't got any evidence, what's the point in saying? That's crazy.
To the very serious accusation that you just made.
Yeah, but I can't.
Yeah, really good job, BPF. I'm glad that you can stick your fucking face at something else. Would you like to make another claim that you don't know anything about?
So if you're not going to let me talk, I'll just call and I'll live stream it all right now. It's your choice.
Well, you came to this platform to make the accusations. I think
because
it's fair to show the people in this audience.
Because Chud Logic was talking shit. But fuck you, I can just go live on fucking Twitch.
The evidence. If you want to do it on your stream, then fine.
Yeah, or you can just shut the fuck up and let me finish.
Are you going to talk about the evidence for the thing that you've accused?
Yes, I keep on trying. Okay, we're done.
Cool.
Wait, I got in here for nothing. Wait, okay, guys, fill me in. What the fuck's going on?
Sanity.
Someone came in, made a really bold accusation, and didn't have any of it. I don't know. It's out of control.
Because BPF hates my guts. So he thinks that he can just go around and spreading rumors because I banned him from my Discord for saying the Cayes slur. Like.
Damn.
Yeah, so he is comfortable saying it. He doesn't have the balls to say it on stream. Got it. Cool. Just making sure. Yeah, cool. Got it.
Do you guys have like a screenshot of this? Or was this in a voice channel?
Or are you talking about specifically?
Well, like him dropping the Cayes slur. Do you have like a screenshot of this?
Yeah, so this happened right when I set my Discord up, and he had said it, and I banned him, and I have since deleted the general chat because we had some issues getting raided by Nazis.
Okay, so similarly, like you understand, like you're making like an accusation that somebody was like calling people racist slurs, and we don't have anything to go by just other than your word.
Sure.
So like this is not a thing we should do, right?
Sure.
Yeah, let's just bring it back in, okay? Obviously I had no idea that Big Brother Fresh was going to say that. He said he was going to come on. In fact, he said to me he was going to, it's in the chat, but he said he was going to be able to prove there's like a back, but he just came on, made an accusation, didn't provide any evidence, didn't elaborate further, and then just left. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? I don't know.
So did this all like start from the meme of BPF saying that there's some kind of cabal that controls Twitch politics in terms of like how things are going down? Or is this just him like mad that people don't want to like have him on panel shows? I'm very confused.
Probably both.
I don't know. Like, look, if anyone's got any contention, we can get into it. Hanz, I know you've got some specific insight into this, so I don't know if you want to,
Yeah, sure. So this is more of just like a general thing, just as someone who's participated in panels, as someone who hosts them, and as someone like who's gone on a lot of them. Online stuff is the same as IRL stuff. There's networking involved, so it's who you talk to, who you know, who you're friends with, like who wants to come on your shows, who we could be convinced to come on your shows. And there's some people that maybe just jive with you, that you don't know how to reach correctly. People respond to DMs or pings. And yeah, sometimes people don't show up. So like if you're wondering why like maybe your favorite streamer hasn't had a crossover with somebody else, it might just be a timing thing. It might just be a networking issue. Most normally, and this is a failure of mine, this is a failure like of pretty much every panel host, is normally get into ruts where we have like, our standard roster of say 10, 15 people who come on a lot. And those are just people that are easiest to reach, yada, yada, yada. Especially for, say, conservatives, you got to be careful in terms of, I would say more for like myself, for Dylan, when we were making panels, you want conservatives, you have opinion, but you also want to have conservatives that are brand safe. So if someone's going to be firing off slurs or something that could potentially get someone like banned, then yeah, you don't want to have those people on. So it's very, very easy for someone not to just appear when you're wondering why they might. And then also the second part of this, right? We're also all human beings. There are people online that people dislike, that I dislike, that Dylan dislikes. And that's a totally normal thing. If it's your platform and you don't have to deal with somebody that you dislike, you're just not going to have them on, right? Like I respect the hell out of Dylan. I know we're never going to see on stuff. I'm probably never going to be on a hippy dippy, and that's totally fine. It's like, just realize that if you have actual beef with somebody or someone doesn't like you, you just won't be on their show. And that's not a conspiracy. It's how people work. If you're an asshole to somebody, they're not going to want to have you on their program, especially if they can have other people who can say similar things to you that they don't like. It's just so strange that they're like, this is how all communication works. It's not just like this sort of environment. It's every environment. It's who you know. It's who you're friends with. It's who's available. Like there's no grand conspiracy. It's just, there's a couple people that have, had the ear of people saying, oh, hey, when I originally did a panel, right, if I wanted, say, X person, I might ask one of my, a couple helpers to go ask them because maybe they're on better terms. It's all just networking. That's literally it. There's nothing magical and fantastical about it. And people who are mad about this, I assume, just aren't pleasant people behind the scenes.
I see you're not inducted into the movers and shakers. Execute Order 52. You won't be getting the weekly newsletter.
I mean, I think there are movers and shakers, but that makes it sound so much more conspiratorial. It's more just like, okay, I know if I send a DM to a person, they'll respond in like a certain amount of time versus someone else asks that person, they'll respond faster. Like, and that's not.
We're just playing interference.
Twitch Illuminati. We just haven't told you yet.
Yeah, like that's not conspiracy. And people who say it is, they're just the people does not have friends or coworkers. Like, have you ever just sent? Like, we've all been in the office and sent an email to somebody, and that one motherfucker who won't respond to you, but he'll respond to your boss or somebody. Like, yeah, of course. I don't. Maybe we're all children. I don't understand.
I think so. I think I'm going to come to that conclusion that we can just have people come in here and say unbelievably insane shit BPF did and just have nothing to prove it.
Well, you kind of did it too, right?
Sure. Mine's not as bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's reasonable to think that BPF would use a slur. I mean, I can honest to God swear he is the perfect, least Nazi-like person I've ever known.
Okay, but whoa, look. Can we just can we not do things we're accusing other people of doing it? Literally minutes after saying that's bad for them. Let's just leave that. Okay, if someone's got evidence of someone doing something, I don't give a shit about what you think. If you've got evidence, send it to me, and I'll look at it. I'll put it on stream if you want me to, okay? Other than that, if I can't prove it, I'm not interested, okay? At the end of the day, it seems like some accusations were made. They weren't substantiated by Big Papa Fascist. So in my mind, my perspective on that would be I'm unable to do anything further until I get evidence. So from my perspective, is there anything else to discuss? I know brought a bunch of people on. Is there anything further to discuss here? I don't know. You tell me.
No, this is fun. I appreciate the responsibility. I've been having a nice Christmas vacation, so I'm happy that y'all are keeping everything locked down.
Yeah, so getting a bit crazy out here.
I got like 30 DMs that I got on.
LGBTQ people is probably bad, and we shouldn't do it if we're not going to have evidence for it. So fuck you if you do that publicly.
I'm excited for the follow-up stream. I wonder if he's actually going to do it, or actually if he actually has the goods. Like that'd be fun. Gotta wait.
Okay, I don't feel like there's anything further to discuss, so I think.
No. I'm missing the game of Monopoly. I got to dip out, but thanks for.
Sorry, Hanz. I appreciate you coming on. I just think we got to a point where, like, I don't know if there's anything for you to provide insight on, but thank you for coming on.
I already said I needed. I could add to this, so yeah. Have fun, everyone. Have a good.
Thanks.
I'll be back in like a week and a half, but everyone be good till then.
Cheers. Bye bye.
Yeah, we were right in the middle of a goat sacrifice at the Twitch Illuminati meeting for this, so I'm gonna get back to that later. Chuck.
The movers and shakers.
Not without me.
Okay. Right, I'm going to end the call then, unless there's anything else anyone wants to say.
I just know that the truth is always somewhere in between, right? So Supreme's being really kind to Dylan. I'll say that my judgment of the situation is he's a younger person, and younger people do tend to act on impulse. And I think Fanatiq needs to equally provide some space for Dylan to make mistakes as a young person, so that just be grown up that you claim to be, instead of the kid that you're fighting with.
So hang on, saying that I'm being kind to Dylan. Like I've been pretty consistent in saying that what I think Dylan did was awful, and I don't know what to say. Like in private, I've been had conversations, like lengthy conversations with Dylan about this. In public, this has been my position. Like what do you think I should be doing that I haven't done?
I'll be honest. I think that you may be caught up in the debate, and you could say, sure, Dylan was a terrible person, as he acted terribly, as young people often do, and I think that maybe that wouldn't have appeased Fanatiq. So I can't speak.
I feel like I've been perfectly consistent in saying that what I think Dylan did to Prime.
And as I was about to say, I can't speak to everything that you've casted, and so I would be happy to hear more about that. Perhaps I'm mistaken. I just feel that in the moment, I might not have been so kind, and I was very hurt by what happened. I was more directly involved because I was moderating chat at the time, and I was really taken aback by the whole situation and not comfortable with that position. So that's where I'm at, and I'm feeling bad about it now. I feel that Prime earned back his audience. I don't know. I'm not gonna say anything else about it other than Prime and I and Dylan and I are on more or less the terms that were on before the drama started, and dredging this up again is just to in service of personal clout. That's what I've got.
Okay, cool.
Okay, thanks very much, everyone. Queen Alexa.
Yep.
I don't know. I literally, I had no idea what Big Papa Fascist was going to say. Obviously, I take allegations very seriously. He didn't really seem to be able to substantiate, or wasn't willing to. So as far as I'm concerned, that's that. Apologies that happened here. I had no idea it was going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I got 15. I was listening to music and looked to my left, and I saw my phone was just going the ding, the ding, the ding, and I was like, "What the fuck?" So that's pretty much what happened.
Okay. And thank you for promoting our panel that's happening in 2 hours.
Yes.
The most boring ever, climate change. That's my specialty. That's the smallest Twitch politics streamer that Danabo regularly mentions. So
I think we stole another righty. I'm pretty sure. Don't we still another righty for that?
Yeah, I couldn't find some people. I'm finding it difficult. Right, Fanatiq. Sorry, Fanatiq.
Yeah, just to be really clear, really clear. This has nothing to do with clout chasing. Just so we're aware, right? Someone like linked me my like stream metrics, and it was like, yo, I streamed 30 hours in the last 30. I'm 33 hours in the last 30 days, right? Like,
Okay.
I like just haven't really been around for that. This isn't about clout at all. There are plenty of people who I can get clout from, right? Like I would say in the political discourse, like Destiny is probably the biggest streamer on Twitch. If I wanted to, I could debate him on anything, and I could argue from any position if I wanted to. Like I can join his stream at any time, right? I could debate him whenever the freak I wanted to. If I was just trying to get clout, I would just be constantly capitalizing on that, or just like sitting around there, right? I would be streaming this conversation right now. There's all sorts of nonsense to do in order to get clout. You can just like stream drama all the time. The thing is, as a black content creator on this space, right, I recognize how absolutely incredibly biased it is. And so when you see someone like Dylan, right, who actually invoked the race element when he made the statement like, oh man, Prime got whatever partner before I did because he was black or whatever. Like when that happened, that makes me feel like, wow, like it's already crazy to me that you as a white streamer who used to be on Prime's panels on a regular basis, create your own panel and like get your own success and do whatever the freak you got to do. Try to tank a black streamer where you already know there's some insane power imbalance, and it seems like everybody just wants to move on really quickly, right? That's what makes me have a that's what makes me a problem with it. Like, I don't know. Like the idea that this is like some sort of clout chase is just ridiculous. I mean, I did two videos on it when it was live and actively happening, and after that, I haven't done any videos or anything like that at all. And it was like it was a huge boost, right? So if I was really just like trying to improve my number, I would just do more videos about that.
Sure. Okay. So, at the end of the day, I'm not here to like defend anyone as such. Like, I was very critical of Dylan at the time. I do still I've got a relationship again with Dylan now. Like, I never really ended as such. But, I don't think that like it's a case of like, oh, I like Prime as well. Me and Prime get on. I was messaging Prime just the other day, in fact. So, it's not like I'm here to defend or attack or whatever anyone. I'm just a guest that looking at it from the outside in, I'm just a bit concerned, as I think maybe you've got some insights here and there, but it does seem like, Prime, maybe his stream hasn't gone the way he wanted to. I don't know. I don't want to comment too much on that, but it seems like it was kind of resolved at the time. Maybe Prime has felt some impact of that going forward. I just don't really know what we do to correct or fix that now. Do you see what I mean?
I think that's 100% fair. And to be honest, I think the reason why I even brought it back up, because I've been like, hammering it for a minute because it's insane to me like how quickly Twitch just moved on despite like it being obvious what was happening. But I think for me, when Katarana like made the statement that she intends to do a panel specifically addressing like this topic and that Dylan Burns would be on it, that to me was just like also
right.
Like it's like it feels like insult to injury. Like you guys already did what you did, and now you're going to do this next step of like still trying to capitalize on it even more. That to me, it just seems heinous. Like what the freak? What like? How can no one see this is absolutely this is like atrocious?
I mean, like, I looked at that and I thought, yeah, I didn't really comment on it. I don't really do like dunking on Twitter so much, necessarily. But I looked at it, I was like, that's a bit fucking weird, champ. But it's one of those situations, and just for full, transparency, like, I'm going on Dylan's Christmas show tomorrow, but that's not because I'm like, and I'm not saying what I'm saying because I'm like, oh, I want to make sure I go on that show. That's immaterial to me. But my perspective is just that, I guess I can understand where you're coming from, and that's going to be frustrating. And it does seem a bit like an ill-conceived idea that they would have a topic about that with all the drama that happened. So yeah, all I can really do personally is just express that, like, yeah, it's kind of a weird thing to have a panel about, and it's not something that I'm really going to watch or support, I don't think. Unless some crazy drama happens on it, I guess. But other than that, no. I'm not really looking to, like, watch it or support it or anything like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think people are going to watch it. She's not, like, she didn't get any viewers or anything like that. And I think that was the most important. I mean, that was what was so funny about it. It's like the entire situation was her jumping from Zaddy to Zaddy, hoping that somebody would take her to the promised land, and like neither one of it panned out. And then Zaddy,
I don't know. I don't like the idea that we're just kind of berating Katarana's character now. Like, I mean, you can have your perspective on it, fine, but this narrative that you're spinning is just, I don't know. I just feel it's a little bit unfair to like.
Which part of what I'm saying is unfair? Which part?
Well, okay, maybe unfair is the wrong way to put it. You can certainly have an idea or an insight that you think you've got into it. But the reality is, like, you know, I don't know if you've got like an evidence to say, right, this is what's happening, you know, and you're making the claim very boldly. I don't know.
Which part are you asking for evidence for?
Well, I mean, you know, the difficulty is it's kind of a bit uncomfortable even talking about it because this isn't really my business, right? But you know, the idea that like Cacciarana is like going from zaddy to daddy to daddy, whatever. You know, I just can't really comment on that. I don't know. Like, you know, maybe I shouldn't.
Two people that was admitted. It was just the two people.
Maybe okay. Maybe okay. I think it's wrong. It's wrong of me to say it's unfair. The real answer is it's not my business. I don't know, and I don't want to get involved. That I think is the correct thing to say. Okay, does that make sense? Yeah.
100%. I think that's 100% fair.
Okay. Right. Well, in that case, I think we'll end the call. No hard feelings. Like maybe we've got some disagreements somewhere, but at the end of the day, a lot of this is personal drama. That you know, I understand where you're coming from. I think we'll just end it there. Okay.
All right. Peace out, bro.
Okay. Have a good one. Cheers. Bye-bye.